Today on the 6th of April, how unbelievable, the 6th of April, beautiful people. And it was a beautiful day, but very, very cold here in London.
Yes.
Very cold in London, wasn't it, Lily?
Very cold. Too cold to go out for a walk today.
We did try.
We tried.
I was like,
tried.
It's not looking very likely.
Sorry.
It wasn't looking very likely, so.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so how are you today? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm still a bit groggy on the inside, but yeah, I'm feeling good.
We're looking great on the outside, girl.
Yes.
And we have a lot in store today. We have a lot in store for you, as you know, it is a talk show, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about today, National Day. Should we start with that? What do you say?
Who remembers? Charlie, you hurt me, Charlie. Is that what it is today?
My finger.
It is National Sorry Charlie Day today, April the 6th. National Sorry Charlie Day each year encourages us to view rejection from a different perspective. It's there to think about the times we've been rejected, whether we've been rejected by a sweetheart or a college, a prospective employer or the bank for a loan. We've all been refused. I don't deal with rejection very well.
Same. It's funny because you guys know that I'm writing a book at the moment. It's a self-help book, and it does actually tackle rejection. Rejection is one of the things that it tackles, and it was quite funny seeing that because it's many different days today.
Yeah.
But I thought, National Sorry Charlie, and I immediately thought of the little boy that got his finger bitten by his younger brother, because he was trying to cuddle him and he put his finger in his mouth and he obviously grown teeth.
Yeah.
And the little one bit his finger.
Yeah.
But I guess that was a form of rejection for him. Like he didn't, I don't know how he saw it, but it says, as it goes on to say, that breakups can be some of the hardest to overcome.
Yeah.
Especially when we're young. So this type of rejection seems to cut deeply and take the longest to heal. And some youngsters do not heal from being rejected either by their parents. From young, they can take that into their adulthood, can't they?
Yeah, they do. I've come across quite a few. It's like abandonment issues. They've got quite bad abandonment issues.
Yeah, but rejection isn't always bad, because sometimes when we look back, we think, "Oh, thank you, God, that was one I missed." Yeah. And that's what today is, National Sorry Charlie Day. So if you've ever been rejected, I'm sure every single one on this earth has, in one way, shape or form. Like you said, it could have been by a sweetheart, it could have been by work, the job that you went for and you didn't get the job, it could have been a bank loan, as stated, and many, many other ways in which we can face that. We might have seen it as rejection as well, when quite clearly it might not have been.
No, it might have just been a blessing in disguise. And it says, how do you observe #National Sorry Charlie Day? You make a list of all the times you've been turned down. So there is going to be a list. Each time you may have taken a different path or learned something new. How did you overcome the rebuff? Share your best rejection stories using the #National Sorry Charlie Day, and post on social media. So you can Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook.
Let us know.
Tell us about your rejection stories.
Let us know. Today is National Sorry Charlie Day, and how you recovered from it, possibly. Have you got any times when that happened to you?
Yeah. So I really wanted a job. I went for this job interview twice. The first time I went for it, I was pregnant and didn't get the job, and I was just kind of like, nah, not bothered, I'm going on maternity leave anyway. And then the person that got the job was pregnant, so I was like, oh, okay. And then I went for the same job, same place, just before my maternity leave ended, and got rejected again. And that one, really, I was in tears. I was, oh, nobody wants me. Go, 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 go. And then, like, a month later, they called me and was like, oh, we've got a post for you. Do you want it? So, it's like, yay. Less hours. It's a better commute and stuff like that. So, I I was compromising with the other 2 positions, and the one that I actually got was perfect for me. So
right, see?
yeah.
So sometimes, like you said, a rejection is a blessing.
Definitely.
I had a few when I done my first children's books. And I have kept all of the rejection letters.
Have you?
I've kept them. I have a folder.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I have. I've kept them as a reminder. One man's no is another man's yes.
Definitely.
And that's what we need to recognise. That's the point I make as well in the book, is that we've rejected people as well. At the same time, we've said no to others. We say no to our kids all the time. So it's not rejection, it's just that thought of, oh no, they said no, I'm not good, and then you start overthinking everything. I'm not good enough, I'm this, and then you know, pity party, you know, that black grey cloud following you around. But sometimes it is truly a blessing. So, National what, Lily?
National hashtag National Sorry Charlie Day.
Yes.
I have a question. This is just literally randomly popped into my mind just now. You know, you said we always say no to our children. How do you feel about a yes day?
Yes day?
Where if they ask you things, you
have
to say yes.
I just said no, didn't I? Just said like, sorry Charlie. Sorry Charlie.
Sorry, it's a no from me.
It's a no from me.
It's a no.
Come on, if they said, oh mummy, can I have more ice cream? Or can I have more candy?
Yes.
Or can I have?
Yes. You have to say yes.
No, that's very dangerous.
Obviously you set boundaries. Like there's certain things you have to say no to. Like, mummy, can I drive the car? No. Okay. There's obviously things you have to say no to. But I was speaking to someone about this the other day, and there is something called a yes day, where you have to say, if they ask you for something, you have to say yes. So, mummy, can I have a new scooter? Okay, yes. Mummy, can I have some ice cream? Yes, because it's basically along the concept that children hear no hundreds and hundreds of times within a day, week, month and year.
Yeah.
And it's to kind of compound that so they don't get used to the no's. They must get used to those because you have to get used to rejection.
Yeah.
Which is not nice, but you have to get used to rejection. But they have to have the euphoria that comes along with hearing yes more often than no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I may try it, I may not.
Let us know what you think out there, beautiful people. Do you believe in a yes day? And allowing the youngsters, and look, there's a little one at the door knocking. Like I say, this is a child-friendly home. So if you hear any children in the background, please, you know, yeah. So we're going to have to say yes. Come. Yeah. So National
Yes Day.
Yes. No. National Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie.
Shh. Yeah. We get a little bit miffed here now. So moving on swiftly, Lily. Today I thought, looking at the today in history, I thought we would celebrate with someone. His name is William December Williams, and you guys are probably going to know him better as Billy D. Williams. And it's Billy D. Williams, Earthstrong.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yes, Billy D. Do you know who Billy D. Williams is, Lily?
Singer?
A singer. He's an actor.
He's an actor. I've heard the name.
He was in Star Wars. Do you like Star Wars?
Oh, him!
Yeah. Really handsome.
The one black guy that was in Star Wars.
Probably,
the first time.
Back in the day,
yeah, I know who he is.
Right, so, yeah, Billy D. Williams. His name for playing, his character was Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that was in The Empire Strikes Back. So I think that was the second one, The Empire Strikes Back, wasn't it? And the fourth episode of Star Wars as well, Return of the Jedi. Was it the first one?
I feel like he was in the ones where they were fighting against Darth Vader, so that would have been
the fifth one.
From 3 onwards.
Yeah. So he was born on April the 6th, 1937, and he was born in New York City, USA. He's now 83 years old.
Wow.
Now I remember Billy D. Williams from a film. Can anyone? Okay, I'm not going to tell you what another film that he was in, but his side or his leading lady was Diana Ross. And this is most definitely one of my films that will be in my top 10. It is the most... It's a depiction of someone's life.
Okay, it is what I think it is.
So if you know it out there, beautiful people, who did Billy D. Williams star beside? It was a film, and his leading lady was Diana Ross. In fact, I think he'd done 2 films with Diana Ross, if my memory serves me well. All right? And we might just give out, I don't know if we're going to give out a little something for that, but we're just going to throw it out there and see if you guys know as well. All right? So Billy D. Williams, it's his Earth Strong. One quite interesting fact, though, he's got a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, lovely.
So, and another thing that he said that he's come out quite recently saying is that he's gender fluid. Does anyone know what that means? Gender fluid. Why the sigh?
I don't know. I mean, after all these years, all of a sudden you've decided to be gender fluid.
So he's gender fluid. I don't know what that
means. Which means you can't call him he.
Oh, he, she.
No.
We.
No.
Right.
Billy would have a pronoun that Billy would like to be called.
Right.
And I don't know I don't know if it applies to gender fluid people, but I know it definitely applies to non-binary people that they refer to themselves as they and them.
Okay.
So you don't say he or she, you say they would like, or I'm going with them. Or just call them by their names.
It highlights here that the gender changes over time. So a gender fluid person might identify as a woman one day and a man the next. They might also identify as agender, bigender, and another non-binary identity. That's very confusing, but that's the way the world's going, beautiful people. So Billy D. Williams, I thought he was quite hot back in the day on that film that we put out there. And that was an interesting fact that I kind of stumbled on.
Is Billy D. Williams not married?
He is married.
To a woman?
Yeah.
Which means that he's
got children.
But that doesn't mean anything. I mean, Phillips Goldfield was married with children and he's so now, so...
Okay. So would he always have been that way?
I do think that Phillips Goldfield's always been gay. I think there's been certain vibes that I've gotten from him that I'm like, maybe he does prefer the other side. But Billy D, I don't know. He's a very pretty looking man. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Ricky, I'm not going to repeat that because I've had a discussion with you in the week, okay? And I totally do understand where you're coming from. However, we are live on air before the watershed, so we'll keep it, what's the word?
Keep it kosher. What I would say is, when it comes to anything gender related, I think I'm going to get stoned for this. I think we as a society, and not just our community, I think we as a society are very used to, in air quotes, the norms being male and female.
Yeah.
And we've always known about people who are trans, who thought they were born in the wrong body and then they change from male to female, female to male.
Yeah.
These new identities that have come along, such as gender fluid and non-binary and things like that, are going to take some getting used to, but like the shock that people from the 1910s and 20s may think when they look at people in the 1950s and 60s, oh my goodness, how on earth can they act like that? That's not normal. Well, actually, that's what we're dealing with right now.
The thing is, they were doing it then. They were actually identifying, there were groups of people that were in the similar situations as we find ourselves in today. Obviously, for specific reasons, it was more unspoken of.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, not just talking about gender identification, I'm talking about things like what they may have found acceptable in the 20s. For example, having sex with someone before you were married in the 20s was, no, she's a harlot. That would just not happen. Whereas the era of the 60s, where you was a very, young and free and, they would look on that and think, oh, that's absolutely atrocious. Whereas that's become a norm now. Do you understand what I mean? So we are looking at this and thinking, oh, that's not really normal. How can they what does that mean? That's this, that's that. But actually, many people will not like to think this, but come 5, 10, 15 years down the line, we're going to look back at it and think, oh, yeah.
We won't even think about
remember those times. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be... It's not going to be not normal.
So topical
Abnormal.
or something that we kind of don't fully understand or don't accept.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't have to accept it now either.
No, we're entitled to our opinions.
Yeah, and an opinion is really, as they say, it's nothing set in stone. It's just our thoughts on a matter. However, yeah, I was quite interested. It was quite... not shocking, shocking to me to know that he was that way inclined.
That is a bit shocking.
And it just is what it is, yeah. So Billy D. Williams, Earth Strong today. He's 83 years old, and we just thought we'd highlight him because he does have a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, and that's another thing, this star on Hollywood Walk of Fame. You've got to wonder, is there anything behind it? But hey.
Yes, it's having your name on the floor, and for people to be like, oh my gosh, you're a star on the floor of the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I know, yes, thank you, Lily.
Yeah.
So we're asking the question tonight. One of the questions we're asking is it's about cheating, okay? And it was a video that you sent me, Lily.
Yeah.
It was a discussion that these women were having, and they were speaking about cheating respectfully. So can it ever be respectful? Cheating, can it ever be respectful? So we're going to be looking at that a little bit later on, and going a little bit into that question. So we're just throwing that out to you, and the lines will open after 6:30. Beautiful people, give us a shout. 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134 713. So Lily, do you know what you're eating? Do you know what's in your food?
Yeah.
You do? Because we almost had quite a heated discussion this afternoon, and I was like, oh wow.
I don't care what's in my food.
You don't care what's in your food?
I mean, okay, how do I say this about... I care about all the cancer-causing foods that we do eat, yes. But if we paid attention to every single ingredient in every item of food, we would have to be vegans that grow food in our back garden.
But even the vegan food is not the best because they use a lot of soy products.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to eat vegan food from your back garden.
A vegetarian, you mean?
No, vegan. Vegetarians eat cheese. I mean leaves.
Right, okay. Leaves is good. Leaves is good. However, if you knew your child was going to be affected from the food that you're eating, surely you would take a much deeper look into what goes into the food that we go and buy off the shelf.
You would just
at Tesco's, at Asda's.
You would reduce the amount of those foods that they eat on a regular basis.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't cut it out of their diet. I would just reduce the amount of food that were processed and stuff like that out of their diets.
Yeah, because I asked that because Wayne, it was a friend of mine, Wayne, that sent a video over to me, and he was showing the yummy spice bun because it was Easter and a lot of people eat bun over the Easter. So it was the yummy spice bun. That's on special. It was £3, but it's normally £3.49, and the National Spice bun. Okay, so they gave lots of allergy advice in it, and they also gave all of the ingredients because a lot of us like to see the ingredients. But it also came with a safety warning.
Yeah,
and the safety warning was sunset yellow FCF may have. This is one of the ingredients. It's an E110. That is the actual preservative, or the E number, and it says may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Now, that was like a bit of an alarm bell for me, seeing that the food's going to have may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children.
Yeah, you sit down and let them eat the whole pack of bun. That's an adverse effect. Sit down and let them eat a whole bun to themselves. No one's going to do that. But in other, it's like, for example, giving a child McDonald's is going to have an adverse effect on their behaviour, because it's got so much sugar in it that it has them running up and down the walls for the next hour and a half. But it is the frequency that you're giving it to your child.
Right.
Are you a healthy eater, but then every now and again you have a little bit of, you know, you have sweets, you have a bit of junk, you have a bit of a binge? Or are you just, do you always have processed food? Do you always have these foods on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, well, you put it like that.
I think that's the difference. If you was given, if the girls were sitting down and eating a whole bun themselves, then that's something to be worried about.
It's cause for concern. Okay, because I just thought, wow, and it's not just in the bun.
No, yeah.
It's in practically everything. These FCFs. Okay, so it's in. They use it as well for makeup, the colourings, as well as other things. Now, what they were saying is, before all this artificial colours and all that stuff, they used to use natural products like saffron or the orange colour, because that's what FCF is, as well as carrots, mulberries, beetroot, to get the natural colourings for food, because it has no nutritional value, but it's just for the colour. So
yeah, but it's expensive to do it that way. If you think of it, if you're a market, you're churning out hundreds and hundreds of these products. Whereas if me and you was to make spice bun, which we can could all get the recipe online and make it in your own home with pure ingredients, we wouldn't be adding the colouring into it.
So would you not prefer to make it, or is it just for the convenience of it? That
it's convenient, but I would prefer to make it.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy, I've just discovered that I can bake a little bit, so I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I would, if it was just, oh, it was out and we needed something quick. Bun and cheese is quick. You just slice 2 pieces of bun and stick some cheese in the middle, and it's a nice little snack. Do you know what I mean? It's nice and quick, but if you have the time to make it, then definitely make it yourself, because then you're still enjoying the flavours of back home, but you're not having all the rubbish that they're putting into it to keep it preserved, to keep it on the shelves, because that's what preservatives are there for.
Okay.
To keep it on the shelves.
So,
but that's colouring. So
your thoughts out there, beautiful people. When it comes to your food, are you an avid label reader, or you just, for convenience sake, just shop and don't pay much attention, in the sense of it doesn't really bother you? Or are you sort of like old school and like to cook up a storm in the kitchen, and you don't have to worry too much about preservatives and additives, because you've already, what can we say, you cook in an organic kind of way. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I do prefer to cook. If I could cook every day, I would cook every day. I say if, I actually could cook every day, but there are the days where you just, I'm quite a emotional person when it comes to food, so there are some days where you just want junk. And on those days, if I'm eating junk, then obviously everyone else in my house is going to eat junk. So we're going to have those not so wholesome foods in our diet, but I do think it's the frequency that we need to be worried about more than anything. If you're going to have it on a regular, it's just like if you eat a bag of sweets, isn't it? It's better to eat a bag of sweets in an hour than to graze on them every 10 minutes.
Okay, so you kind of put things into perspective, but still, I do read labels. And I'm finicky about food anyway, you know that already. I barely go out and eat in the restaurant because I don't know what the kitchen looks like. All these things come into play for me, so I do read. So it was something that more struck a chord with me. I don't eat McDonald's. You know, the last time I went and had McDonald's, we took the children out. Yeah, I broke out in hives. Like, you know, I did. I broke out in hives. Like, I'm like, why am I eating this junk? And my body fought against it. But is it my mind?
Yes.
Or is it the food?
I feel like you have this psychological thing when it comes to food, which is good, because it means that you are consistently eating good food. You eat home cooked meals consistently every day, but it is definitely your mind saying, no, Emma, we don't like this, and then you just start bursting out in headaches and hives.
Oh, sounds of Cloud9, Dolly DJ Johnson, DJ Spinner. That was a remix from DJ Spinner. And that was Donna Gardier with Bet You Wouldn't Hurt Me. And there's quite a few versions of that one there, actually. That Bet You Wouldn't Hurt Me is quite a nice one. So Naturally Lily.
Yeah.
We were speaking about it being National Sorry Charlie Day.
Yeah.
A day for when people are rejected, but often a rejection turns into a blessing.
Yeah.
And the question that we're posing out to all of our beautiful guests tonight is, can it ever be respectful? And that was in line to a video that was sent with these ladies saying what they require when it comes to that. We'll be looking at that, and we have a few answers to that as well, and we'll be looking into that. But first off, we're speaking about this minister driller. All right, so we know that we have a mayor, what do they call it, election coming up in May.
Yeah.
And this drill minister, he's a UK drill rapper and he's running for London mayor. And what he wants, he was raised in South East London and he wants to really represent the working class. Do you think that this will be apparent? Your thoughts on that, Naturally, Lily? As I say, May the 6th.
Can he represent the working class?
Yeah.
I don't think he can.
Why would you say that?
I don't know,
He's come from a working class background, so surely he's got at least some experience in that, from that background, when we think about it.
I know, but why do these... Okay. Why do these... I don't know. I personally don't think he can represent the working class. He said that he's running for mayor because he doesn't believe that people from his background, London's true working class, are truly represented. My argument with that is he's a drill rapper minister. Already I find an issue with that. And they already put us in the category of all your type of people are footballers, rappers, or something to do with athletics that makes you useful, and now you're just kind of proving it.
The sad thing is, because this was an article that we found on Al Jazeera, and it says that they highlight his drill music as it supports violence.
Yeah,
on
it's
YouTube.
very angry.
And that by request of the police that a lot of his videos have been taken down. So that is kind of the first red flag to a degree.
Well,
yeah. Or is this drill minister exposing, like he says, the country's dirty secrets?
they just want to take his music down because his kind of drill music is most probably being listened by these young angry boys and is telling them, I know this is the type of music you like to listen to, which is why I'm using this music, but the road that you're going down is wrong. And if that encouragement works the way he wants it to work, then the police don't have no one to beat up. I've just made a very outlandish statement there, but that's my opinion.
Right.
But then on the flip side of that, he is using quite a negative outlet to try and make a difference. I don't know, it's just very confusing, I think.
Well, you said that his music does highlight the things that politicians actually don't want to hear. So speaking about the underprivileged, speaking about the reality of poverty, and speaking and saying that it's down to the politicians who have actually created this reality for the underprivileged people. So, I mean, his argument's right, but maybe it's just the way that he presents it.
Yeah, most probably. I think as well, a lot of people at the moment are very outspoken and they don't want the most outspoken to be heard. And if you are already going to be if you already have a platform where your voice is being heard and listened to, and then we give you this additional platform of London,
Yeah.
Not that he's going to be able to make any changes, but I think a lot more people's voices may be heard. Maybe that might be another reason why they want to shut it down. I personally think, okay, it's great that he wants to go in there and make a change. I don't think the kind of
people can
real
change.
side of it is the greatest idea.
Maybe that was just a start. He realised, I wanted to get into politics because of, possibly because they are closing his channel down, they're not showing his stuff. And he has a voice that wants to be heard, he wants to help the people, but now he's going about it the right way.
But does he really think his voice is going to be heard just because he's male?
Yeah, well, was Sadiq Khan's voice heard? Did he change a lot of things? I don't know, London just seems worse than ever for me.
Yeah, public transport.
When you think about it, it is terrible. And I know you got to travel on the train.
Public transport's more expensive, and every single back road has those stupid box things in the middle of the road. So when you're driving, you have to use the main road. How does that make sense? How does that
It makes sense because of what they want to implement.
Yeah, getting everyone to drive on the main road and pay congestion charge.
Exactly. That is what they want to implement.
Well, that doesn't help your lay
So
person.
Sadiq hasn't helped there. I don't know if he will have another term, to be very fair, but you can understand why this drill minister, he wants to focus on the underprivileged, he wants to focus on the homeless, which they get overlooked a lot as well.
Yeah, they definitely do.
And I mean, if they could find them homes during this whole situation that we've just been through, then surely they should stay in the homes that were found for them.
My thing with the homeless is I find it really upsetting the fact that a lot of these homeless people, and a lot of people are like, oh well, you're homeless, you put yourself there. Maybe some of them did, but then when they go to get jobs, you have to have an address to put down to apply for a job, and then like where your letters and things like that are going to go to, or an email address or something. If you're homeless, how are you going to get access to these things? And I know you can get a PO box at the post office, it costs £35 minimum. Oh, you can put the job centre down as your address. How many job centres are there within? I remember you used to be able to see 3-4 job centres along just one little high road. Where are the nearest job centres where people are actually physically going to be able to get there to put their address down? Do you know what I mean? It's like a double-edged sword. You have to have an address to have a job, but I don't have an address because I don't have a job, so I'm stuck.
Yeah, and he says he says all this costs us money as well. Like if they get ill, it costs the taxpayers money, and it always falls on the taxpayer to do specific things. Whereas if they had certain things in place for underprivileged people, for homeless, for those ones that are wanting to strive to do better, then I guess that's in an ideal world. But it shouldn't be in an ideal world. It's still going to be a stress
on our taxpayers. It's not going to make our tax any less. Do you know what I mean? Everything that's on a taxpayer's shoulders, just because they give some relief and help out in a certain area, that doesn't mean that our tax is going to be any less.
Yeah. He says he also wants to improve housing and the housing shortage. So it said Sadiq Khan promised to build 10,000 homes by 2022 for 1.67 billion. Only a fraction of those houses were actually built. A fraction of those houses. Corona. This is not acceptable. Londoners need transparency to know how their money is being used instead of empty promises. So what makes us think that his promises are going to be fulfilled?
And in answer to the housing shortage, the funny thing is housing is being built.
Yeah.
Because how many flats and high-rises have we seen built in the last year? But none of these are for people that need social housing. And that 1.67 billion most really did go into half of those places that have been put up, that are now going to have landlords that are going to charge people an arm and a leg to live there. So Sadiq Khan could say, well, my promise was fulfilled because I did put 1.67 billion into building those properties. It's not my fault if they can't afford to live in them.
Yeah, but it should have been affordable housing. Affordable housing. What is affordable housing?
I was just going to ask you the same question. What is affordable housing? For someone who's on minimum wage, I think minimum wage now is $7.50 or $8.50, one of them. What is affordable housing with someone who you've got, say for example, you're a 2-parent household and you've got 2 children that you've got to pay for?
Well, I know of one lady, I read an article a while ago, she's a nurse, and she can't even afford to live where she lives.
Yeah.
But she's a nurse doing a great role, saving half of the people that were ill during this time, yet she can't even afford to look after herself. She's got a job.
Because the Prime Minister thinks that giving the NHS workers 1% is enough.
That's just the price of a cup of coffee.
If that.
Yeah, it cost her. And I tell you, so I bought a cup of coffee on the hill last week. And it was served to me in an espresso cup. That was like just a regular coffee.
A cup of coffee was served to you in an espresso cup?
Espresso cup. Yeah.
As in a shot glass?
Yeah, well, you might as well have called it that. Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. And
you paid the normal price? Normal
price. So everything's getting smaller, guys, as well. It's just like, it's a joke. It's a joke. So let's see if this dual minister will work through getting what we asked for. Al Jazeera asked him, fighting crime looks to be a key battleground for the elections in May. How would you approach the issue of rising crime? What specific policies and measures would you put into place? That's one of the questions that he was asked.
And his response was?
He wants to challenge people's perception of where crime comes from, as many do not think about who stands behind these numbers. I guess I fully agree.
Yeah. Because there's an advert that comes on ITV and it angers me every single time it comes on. It's a black mother crying her heart out because she's explaining how her son got stabbed.
Right.
And it's basically an advert talking about, it's something to do with knife crime. And every time I hear it, it makes me vex. The only reason it makes me vex is because...
It's me, sorry.
Yeah. Is because it's almost like, and this is every single one of those adverts. It's not like one advert's a black woman, another one's a white woman, another's an Asian woman, another's a Hispanic. It's just this one black woman crying about how she had to tell their family, or he's in hospital, and they're thinking, but it's not just black youths that get stabbed.
No. And
no uproar is going on about this advert, but then you've got a happy black family on Sainsbury's, and everyone has something to say about it.
So that he's very right about that then, isn't it? It's who's behind these numbers. And it's kind of covert because the full truth's not really coming out. So I understand when he spoke about wanting transparency when it comes to governance.
Yeah.
So letting the people kind of know. So what are your thoughts out there, beautiful people, as regards to this dual minister becoming dual minister becoming Mayor of London? Now he is a younger person, he has a drill rap career behind him. It sounds a bit like Kanye, doesn't it?
I was just going to say, it sounds like... Kanye made a very valid point the other day that I agreed with. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
But someone asked him the question. Obviously, he was married to a white lady, and someone asked him the question about, don't you think that you're what's the word, like, kind of going against your people, like by being with a white woman? And it wasn't that word in those specific words, but he was basically saying, yeah, he said, we always are the ones that fight and complain about the white people, and we're pointing the fingers and saying, you've done this to me, I want this back. But then in the same next breath, you're going and, instead of going and buying land, you're going and buying this brand, that brand, rapping in music about things that are going to get you arrested by the police. That's what I think, that's how I feel about drill music. And you're doing all of these things. How does that help your community? You're complaining about those that are judging your community, but then you're contributing to their misconceptions and these silly stereotypes.
Well, as Drillminister says here, we need to guide our young people through the obstacles of life in London. So maybe he started out wanting to speak about these things, and maybe using drill music was one of his only ways of getting out. But he's changing his perspective, he's wanting to go into politics now, and he wants to help these young people. Like he says, he expects them to navigate a capital lifestyle driven by money and more money. We are training them to get rich fast to survive. That's the streets. That's on the streets of London. That's what these young boys are growing up like: quick money, but getting it in the wrong kind of way.
Yeah.
So he wants to change the narrative, and that is one of the reasons behind crime as well. You know, he says that. In other words, crime is generated by the concoction of increased pressure to make money and lack of moral support for our youth. So he's talking a lot of sense, Lily.
It is, but him talking about transparency, it's not like we don't know that we're not the ones that commit the crime. Do you know what I mean? That if you're talking about getting in position to open up the eyes of the others, they know that already. Do you know what I mean? You're then going to have to change things like the media. You're going to have to change things like half of the stuff that is put in front of our faces, because it's about, like we speak about this all the time, representation. The representation we see of ourselves on television, on whatever platform you're watching, whether it's terrestrial TV or internet television, representation is so important, it's so key. And if you are seeing yourself as fast money makers, on using not so recommended methods of earning money, then that's all that you're going to think that you're useful for. So that's, if he wants to make the change, that's where he needs to make the changes. Does he have the power to do that as mayor? I don't think so. He's got the power to take down all their road things, but I don't think he's got the power to change what's happening in the media.
But I guess he could be a good role model. All the roadmen that know him could say, look, oh well, I've made a change. And perhaps, I mean, I know that there's this new, what do they call it, new political party.
Yeah.
I can't remember their name, but I know that they're around.
Yeah.
But I don't see much presence from them. This is why I can't even remember the name. So that just goes to show, doesn't it, that, you know, what do we have to kind of look forward to in that sense. But if he can turn these youths around and make a difference, tackle crime, which crime has been there since day dot, then hopefully, check him out, beautiful people.
I
check him out.
honestly think he could win, and it's not for a positive reason, but if the reason he would win is not positive, because they will do it for whatever quota they're trying to cover. But if he does get a position and is really meaning to make change, then it could be a good thing, I guess.
I think he could do great stuff. I really do. Because he's wanting to go to the core and the heart of the matter. So I think that he could possibly make a change. But
then is it just another Obama? It looks great for 8 years, but
just go in and undo everything.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful people, let us know. 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134 713. Oh yes, you can make it happen indeed. Sounds of Mariah Carey there. And we had Stevie Wonder, Do I Do, just before that. We can make things happen, right, Lily?
Definitely. If you want it to happen, you can make it happen.
Make it happen. A bit like the motivation that we had at the top of the show. It was highlighting about happiness. And really happiness is down to every individual. No one else can make you happy, beautiful people. They can enhance your happiness, but they can't make you happy. We're the only ones that really are in charge of our happiness, right?
Definitely.
So in saying that, we've been asking the question at the top of the show as well. Can you cheat respectfully? Your thoughts out there. Your thoughts, Lily.
I don't even know what that question is asking. Can you cheat? No. Can you respectfully cheat respectfully? How does that make sense?
No idea. But the women the video that I saw that you sent over, they were quite happy to be in a relationship where their partners would cheat on them.
I mean,
yeah. Now the article that we also referred to today was about this guy, and he lives in New York, and he says he's a serial cheater. Right. So the woman says there's something really psychotic about serial cheaters, but we can't hide from the fact that it is something that people do.
I mean, okay. Why would you be proud to say that you do it habitually, for one? But I can see both sides of the argument here. Not with the habitual cheater. I just fully don't agree with that. But with someone who... sorry, my document's gone. But with someone who... I can understand what may push someone to cheat once.
What would push someone to do that?
I mean, there may be many factors that may contribute for you to be that person that may step out of a relationship, forced out, step out, however you want to look at it. But my thing is, you've done it once, okay, have you both reconciled? If you've reconciled, then fine, she's got to get over it and kind of deal with the decision that she's made. But that doesn't give you the go ahead to then make this a regular thing.
So this guy that this serial cheater that we're speaking about, he's gone anonymous. Well, that's the first thing,
obviously.
Okay, but he said
she would
that he said that he's cheated on his fiancée about 20 times,
and they're not even married, so she's got to escape,
but doesn't want to break up with her because he loves her.
Well, he obviously doesn't if he keeps on doing it.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? That is the actual point. Like, he's 20 times, Lish. You said once just now.
Once. Is it's almost like you've done it once. I mean, most women that would have had a man step out on them or partner step out on them,
yeah,
would have a hard time rekindling that relationship, but somehow they manage to do so. If that's the case, they're still going to have strifes and stresses every single time something comes up, because they're going to know that it's happened once.
Yeah.
However, the partner should be doing the most to make that person feel like this isn't going to happen again. You shouldn't be, oh, okay, they've forgiven me once, that must mean they'll forgive me 77 times in Jesus' name, amen. No, that's not what that means. And the fact that he's then said, you know, I
don't want to leave her because he loves her.
Don't want to leave her because
love can't come into the question there, right?
No, maybe he loves her, but he's definitely not in love with her. Like I'm a full believer of loving someone as a person and being in love with that person. I do think there is a difference, and I think that some people blur those lines and think, oh, because we have amazing coitus and things just seem to work, that must mean it's okay for me to go and do what I'm about to do. No, that's not what that means. And that means that you're taking her for a fool. And then does that mean she doesn't even know? Has she even been able to forgive him once?
Or does it mean that, yeah, I think she must know about it. And if she doesn't, I mean, does any woman know, does any man know?
No, because it's the fact that he said, I can't leave her. That's what's getting me. I can't leave her because I love her so much. But then, is she even been given the option to make that decision?
He says his reason for cheating is when it's someone else, you're exploring somewhere you've never been before, and your heart is racing. You can feel the excitement in her as well. I think that it's really amazing just having that. If I go a certain amount of time when I haven't been with anyone new, I start to feel like I'm bottling something up.
Then you shouldn't be in a relationship. You should just have maintenance people. I learned this today. You don't have relationships, you have maintenance companionships, which means when you feel that you need a flutter, you contact your construction worker. That's all that means. Serious.
Wow.
Someone made the comment. She asked she said the GP asked her, the doctor asked her, are you having a relationship? Are you active? No, she said, are you sexually active? She said yes. Okay. How long have you been with your partner? Oh no, I don't have a partner. Oh, okay, but you have maintenance people. Well, that's a nice one to look at. Yeah, I've got maintenance people, so that's fine. You don't be in a relationship. You have maintenance people. But you don't string someone along, 20 maintenance people down the line, because they give you flutters.
I know, that's what you said.
This is someone I want to see and I just want to...
I know, because at the end of the day, he's obviously taking just his feelings into consideration and not the feelings those of his fiancée. I mean, you're engaged to be married. Now, I would need to know. I would need to know. So that I can say, do you know what? Once, even twice. Yeah?
It's a stretch.
Yeah,
that is asking a bit much. That really is.
But that's lack of respect, I'm sorry. What are your thoughts out there, beautiful people? What are your thoughts? Yes,
can I just read this paragraph?
Yeah.
It says, there is such a thing as respectful infidelity. That's one of the things that I always think about. As much as I've been unfaithful at times, I've tried as respectfully as I could to do it without hurting anyone's feelings and getting caught. You keep your phone history clear or blacklist numbers from being able to call you or text you. Also, don't ish where you eat. Sure, it's much easier to go and have coitus with your secretary than it is to leave town and go somewhere and meet somebody randomly, but New York City is big enough where you can meet someone who you will never see again. Anybody from work, those people have to be off limits, and I've never been with a married woman. Now, I'm just going to break this down. There's some serious detective work that this person is doing that to cover up their crime. You know, like when a murderer wipes the scene and gets rid of all the fingerprints. That's effort.
But then there is residue left.
But that's effort.
Yeah, there's a lot of effort. Ducking and diving.
Why would you do that? Why would you go through that much effort to lie?
The thing is, like he said, he's cheated on his wife or his fiancée 20 times. Is that 20 individual people? Because he seems to like the conquest.
What's it? And
then moving on, he likes to feel that feeling and move on from that feeling. You know, and it's health-wise, I mean, that his mind must be somewhere, right? He has 20
different people's energies intertwined with his... 21, because he must sleep with him wife as well. So 21 energies intertwined with his own energy, and he thinks, oh no, I need a new
feeling. But it's not just 21 energies with those 20 women. It's him contaminating all of those women with each other's energy.
No. I don't. In that, him contaminating them, yeah, fair enough. But I just, and then he's got the cheek to say, I've never been with a married woman. Then you must know that it's wrong. Then, or is he afraid that the husband might track him down?
I think you are right in saying that if that's the kind of lifestyle that he wants to live, that he doesn't commit to someone because he's only going to break the trust of that relationship.
Because he's going to get found out in the end. I don't know why anyone thinks that you can do things, you can do badness outside that no one will ever find out about. Like when you're young and used to go and take a little meat from the Dutch pot. You can hear the Dutch pot upstairs. You've been caught. They know it's happening. You just haven't got licks for it yet. You will get caught.
I've never heard that expression, going downstairs and taking meat from the Dutch pot.
and you put the lid down so quiet and it goes. Oh, just quickly run away. So
it does sound like a gong, doesn't it? The Dutch what sounds like
a
a gun.
at the Dutch one. But you're gonna get caught in the end.
Yeah.
And even if it's not your woman that catches you, you will have to answer to your maker eventually.
But then you must be carrying a lot of debris as well. Because as well as you
like emotional guilt.
Yeah.
I doubt they have emotional guilt if they feel like they're entitled to this kind of lifestyle, but it must catch up with them in feeling wise eventually.
Yeah.
Because then you just feel like they must at some point just feel like a bit of meat.
Or it's just an addiction as to why they just need to... He spoke of it, the way that he spoke of it just then was almost as if it was just like, you know, when your endorphins get going before the chase, it's the chase before the kill, as it were. And he went through all those emotions and it heightened his pleasure, right? That he had to go for the chase.
But it's like he's literally writing a text. He's writing a manual for other male cheaters out there. Yo, bro, this is what you do. You make sure you do hotel for one night, but you don't make too much, and you must use protection. It's like you're writing a self-help book. That's what this reads like.
Well, he was anonymous, so he obviously didn't have enough respect for himself to even name who he was.
There you go. Or he doesn't want his woman to find out.
Yeah, I was going to say that in a sense. But those women that spoke about it said that they wouldn't want to know. One, don't not use protection. Two, I don't want to know about it. And I'm cool with it. That's what the women are saying.
Some men don't think that. Some men think it's okay if, say, like the woman says, "Oh, don't worry, I'm on the pill" or something. That's okay.
But
so how do they
protected?
Know? So how do they know that their men are not going out there and having relations with these other women, and the woman's like, "Oh no, don't worry, I'll take the pill."
Yeah, but you still got to protect yourself. Pill doesn't protect you from STIs.
Some men don't realise that.
No, that's
not everyone is not. No, on it, you'll be surprised. I've got an app, and some of the questions from people who have had children. Still asking about how this whole how it manifested. But you understand that rubbers are only 98% accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, but I got pregnant even though we used protection. Okay, but on the packet it says is only 90% accurate. Can you get pregnant if you do it this way? Really? And this is where as well I feel like with parents that take their children out of sex ed classes, I know that it's still very taboo subject, and a lot of us parents are just like, nah, I'm not sitting in that lesson. But I went and done a session for the youth club, the foundation that we support, and there was a sexual health nurse there, sexual health and educator there, and she said, you will be surprised about the amount of adult women that have no clue about how to protect themselves and their partners when it comes to sexual intimacy. And it is because they tend to be the people that have come from the backgrounds or the religious upbringings where they're like, no sex before marriage, or no, my child doesn't need to be in that class because they're not having sex anyway.
When they do, they really do, because it's
funny. They may not be having sex, but they will eventually.
It's meant to be forewarned and forearmed, as they say, isn't it? As opposed to, and it's funny because I had was speaking to Mum over the start end, and she was highlighting that within her group that there are young women that the men. This isn't probably a topic for us to cover another time. Within the religious circle are the pastors.
Grooming the children, the girls.
They groom the girls and they're impregnating the girls.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much, and then the girl will say, "Oh, Pastor such and such touched me," and then that they won't be believed.
Yeah.
So we need to educate. It's going back to that education, isn't it? Educating our youngsters to know that. Right, if you feel uncomfortable, and it's not just our daughters either.
No, it's our sons.
Because it's the sons that are being touched as well. So, I know we've kind of gone off.
I think a lot of us me speaking as a parent, it's a scary thing to think about having to educate your child on the matters of sex and all that kind of stuff. But what would I prefer? Would I prefer for them to bring home something that I'm not going to welcome into my house? Or would I prefer for them to be aware of all the ins and outs, the pros, the cons, the consequences and the repercussions of their actions?
And this is why, going back to that whole cheating situation, that, you know, you've got to be considerate, really. And Naomi makes a point about maybe the question should be, how can cheating be done respectfully? Well, I guess just don't do it at all. And if you want to go out there and do whatever you want to do, then not on someone else's terms. Yes, Lily?
Sorry. John Ken says, remember, this is a two-way street. They are in control of their cookie. These women are in control of their cookie. That is very true.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there. We shouldn't actually refer to it as a cookie because then some children think that's acceptable. So we've got to be careful of the wording. But I get what John Kett is saying. However, this man that has gone and been unfaithful 20 times, with each of those 20 times, did that person that he was being intimate with, well, not intimate, because he said he didn't like the intimacy, that he was going and having his affair with, did they know that he was already in a relationship? Because maybe 10 of those would have been like, nah, my bits are precious, you can go and jog on and move on to the next one.
But this is another thought then. Women out there, are we so desperate as well that we just give it up just like that?
Or are we telling these men what we want? Because someone else made that point as well. That a man says to you, oh, what do you look for in a man? And you go and spill everything that you expect.
Yeah.
And then in the first 6 months, he's being all of those things that you told him that you wanted him to be.
But he's got a woman.
But him have a woman.
Yeah. And you're unaware
and you
of
don't
that.
know. And you're like, oh, but he treats me right. And he opens the
Don't forget though,
door
Lily.
and I get out the door. And oh my gosh, he's such a gentleman. You told him to do all those things.
We're taking it from a man's perspective here. However, women do the same thing.
Yeah.
So we can't just put it on the man. Yes, men do it.
I feel like women do it.
No, but women.
I feel like when women cheat, they just go to one person that treats them good, and they just consistently use that person as a booty call. I don't know
Really?
I don't know if I know about women that would have 20 cheating partners.
Joyce says that cheating is total disrespect. And of self and other, no responsibility or accountability, mixing of juice, adverse effects on health. That's very, very true. That's like I said, the contamination and the bringing over the energies. Yeah, but have you ever seen Paternity Court? Because you just said about the woman, that they
you
just
are
go once.
not the father. There's like 4 other men that have to come along.
And even up to the 4th man, I know a woman that's had loads of men in there and she still couldn't find out who the father was.
But women, ladies, sistren, I'm talking to you right now. How can you not know?
What do you mean, how can it? Well, those women didn't know.
No. How can you be so free with yourself? And okay, we've spoke about maintenance, having a maintenance person. Okay, you've got your maintenance person because you need to get yours. If that's you, that's your breakfast. But why are you not protecting yourself with each of these people? You're not on the pill. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Safe sex is not on the pill. That is preventing the one good thing you could bring home.
Yes. Yeah.
And one good thing out of the 10,000
other things.
Awful things that you could bring home.
Yeah.
Why are you just relieving yourself of all of these 3, 4, 5, 6, and it has to be within the space of a week as well? Like, there's a very small window where you could have got pregnant, and you've gone and you've allowed all of these men to become one with you.
It's debris.
And now you don't know who. Possibly all of them give DNA to the baby, and
psychologically, it's very damning as well. That psychologically, for a woman to be having multiples, like a man is created to give, a woman is created to take. So we're taking on board all of that energy too. So with speaking, is it respectful to cheat? No, as Joy rightfully said, that cheating is total disrespect of self. You have no responsibility or accountability, but we should be responsible and we should be accountable. That word should, what's fun about it, but taking responsibility and being accountable for our actions. And like that guy that cheated on his fiancée 20 times, just don't have a fiancée.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Like you said, a maintenance person.
You do not love her.
Yeah, so give us 5. We're going to play one track and then we'll be right back. Sounds of Jerome Farrar there, I Can't Breathe. And we know that George Floyd's court case has been up, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Last week. I don't know if there's been a verdict for that yet, but we're still awaiting the trial. I know that it's been on television, so we're still awaiting to see how that all plays out, and hopefully there will be justice for George Floyd. So given the fact that we don't have that much longer to go, naturally, Lily, what is the 10x rule and what should we have a look into today?
So today we are on, what are they called again? Well, the 31 that we was looking at, and we're on number 6. Number 6 is persist until successful. So the ability to persist on a given path, regardless of setbacks, unexpected events, bad news and resistance, to continue steadfastly or firmly in some state, purpose or course of action in spite of conditions. It is a trait common to those who make it. I assure you that I, at least, am more persistent than I am talented. So we spoke about hashtag
Charlie
something.
Charlie bit my finger. No, it wasn't Charlie bit my finger.
Hashtag Charlie.
National Sorry Charlie Day.
And that was all about accepting rejection or not accepting rejection, but looking at what you've been rejected for in the past and looking ahead from there. When you were rejected, did you just all of a sudden, did you give up altogether? Or did you find a different path to reach your goal that you may have been rejected from? Yeah. So being persistent is key if you want to be successful. So, with anything in life. Yeah,
persistence is very, very important. And in line with what we were speaking out as regards to cheating respectfully, Asima says when a man cheats, he is also cheating on his family and kids. And they don't normally think about our beautiful kids, especially girls. What sort of example are they setting? It will have psychological effect. The disrespect will be on the whole family, not just the man and woman.
I feel like that only affects the children if they know about it.
Yeah.
Because obviously if there's a breakup in a relationship, then yes, it will affect the children because they won't have both of their parents living together.
Yeah.
But do the children need to know that, oh, we broke up because your mum cheated? Do you know what I mean? Is that really necessary? No, I don't think it is. I think that the children should be given the ability to still build a relationship with both of those parents, regardless of those parents, how those parents treated each other, because you may have been disrespectful towards each other and by default then disrespected your children. Yeah. But you always have the, just like a woman or a man may take back the cheater, you still have to give children the opportunity to have that relationship without they don't need to know the ins and outs of your relationship. Yeah, because that's between you and the other person. And
allow them to be children, like we spoke before, the innocence of a child. But I can see how a child can be affected if both parents aren't there. Yeah. That can definitely, and it's very true about how a father treats the mother will be a reflection on the daughter, because she will see, or daughters, when they'll see that growing up as well.
But then vice versa. I feel like, you know me already, I'm always an advocate for men. If the shoe is on the other foot, it's still the daughter seeing how the mother is acting. Yeah. So for example, if you're allowing the man to disrespect you, then that's on you. If you're then also that person that's rowdy and you have enough man and you know there's always a new mummy's friend coming home, then how are your children supposed to see that as well?
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people think, oh, the man left or whatever, but the man lives on his own now with his new wife that they get on perfectly well and are managing to raise a family, whereas you are bringing home a man every month.
And Hortense has made that point. Hortense says there are some women that would have various number of men and stayed in control. She would have introduced them to each other, but they wouldn't know she slept with all of them.
Yeah.
I call this insecurity, trying to replace the hidden gaps in her life. Sad. And that's very true what you just said there, isn't it, Lily, about, you know...
Because I think especially when the children live with the mother, which is usually the case, everyone kind of forgets that dad might go off and live his life, but children aren't witnessing him live his life. So if he does have 10 women on the go, the babies aren't growing up knowing that because they're not there to experience that. If they're living in the home with a parent that does have 10 people on the go, then that's what they're witnessing. And if they are with the mother, that young girl that we're talking about, dads need to, you know, treat their daughters right because men, that's the man that they look up to. What about the woman they become? Because that's also going to be a reflection of the mother. If you think that it's okay for you to have a partner every how often, your maintenance people, for example, are you discreet with your maintenance people or do your children see them come into your house?
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. And Joy makes a point when we spoke in line with the paternity, that when you say the women are so sure, they're so sure that it was you, it's you, it's you. And they've been paying child support for 18 years, go and do the thing, and it's not true.
Such a shame.
Because they're so sure that it is. And we are accountable in that way as well.
And it's embarrassing.
For the person.
For me,
and for the young person, and for the child.
Oh, can I bring him out? But why are we even here?
Yeah. Yes.
Why are we here? Why have you brought me to all these strange people to find out if this man is my dad that you've already introduced me to for the last year of my life?
Yeah. Very, very true. And so Natalie's made a point here. It's a really beautiful point that she says no one's talking about this. And it says 3 black kids, Marley, Anala and Alana, have the highest IQs ever in the world.
Wow.
We'll be talking about that next week. We'll highlight that next week. We spoke about black excellence, haven't we, on the show, and there's so much of it. And so high five to Romani, Anala and Alana, highest IQs. There was another young African girl that won the mathematics championship. She was only 15.
Wow. And
she'd come 15 points clear of all the top sets like London, Japan, all those ones. She was from Nigeria.
Excellent.
So she was top set as well. So
excellent.
I know it's kind of gloomy and all this stuff talking about cheating respectfully, but sometimes we have to tackle these
that we come across, though, isn't it?
Yeah, these are things that we see, and as Grant Cardone says, it's about changing, isn't it? It's about
being persistent,
and pushing ahead, pushing forward, and as women and as men, respecting ourselves, because there's nothing better than having that self-respect and having that self-awareness.
Yeah, I think it's so important to look at, like, I've got 2 daughters and I do often think what they see me doing, they're going to then adopt as time goes on. Like simple things like putting on makeup or wearing a wig, like we telling our daughters to love what you look like and love yourself regardless, you're beautiful in your natural state, and then we're going and caking ourselves in makeup, and it does sometimes make me feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So you have to be that parent that looks inward before we look at the other person and say, well, you did this, and you know, making them feel responsible for the attitudes that our children can have. We as parents, each parent needs to kind of take that responsibility on themselves and just say, am I doing all that I need to do? cool. They will show their colours, and the children will see their colours as they grow. As many of us have witnessed, you grow to see what your parents are like, and you're either a lot like your parent or you're the completely opposite to your parent. But children grow and they see what their parents are like.
Yeah, but Arsima makes a point here. She says without them knowing, kids will feel the stress, and that is very true. Sometimes when we're in a state, when we're in a fit of whatever, our youngsters
emotions,
pick it up. They will pick it up.
Definitely.
So again, that self-respect, not to be disrespected. And if you know that your partner's out there doing whatever they're doing, male, female, have that self-respect to say, do you know what, I'm not owning this, and I might feel down for a bit, but I can always come out of that rut, as opposed to having to remain in it and have to keep going through the hurt, because I think that way we hurt our children more when we do stay in it. But there's a lot of women that are stuck as well.
Because if you are that person that has that habitual cheater as a partner, if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. But I do feel like every person that's in that situation may have inklings. I do think they may have inklings, and there's only so much you can do if you can't prove it. But if you don't feel right, and you are, like Arsima says, you are emitting those emotions that are now affecting your children, then that's a conversation you need to have with your partner. If you don't know, if you do know and it's affecting you to the point where you don't think that this is going to work, then do what you have to do.
Absolutely. And Sonia says there, parents just shouldn't blame each other for the thing. So someone's gone out there and done whatever, the trust has been broken. It's about, like you said earlier, maybe forgiving them once and working through it. Forgiving them twice. Maybe the woman did forgive him 20 times because she might just love him, right?
She's a strong woman,
right? But working through it, but not casting that blame, because again, this guy says he's a serial cheater. It's an addiction. Sex can be an addiction, right? A lot of us are addicted to many different things. So for him, that's his portion.
But he's free in the sense that he's not tied down by no marital contract.
Not yet. But
they don't have no. Did you sign the documentation?
But does she know? Like you said.
But that's like the other person. We saw this the other day, and the man. What did the man do? And he still got married to the woman.
But she forgave him. Did she forgive him?
I don't know what happened. I can't remember what happened. But he had been doing something before they had gotten married, and he didn't tell her what was going on, and he still married her, keeping that to himself.
Oh yeah, that was the one that we done on. He was on the down low.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, sexual deviance.
Yeah,
things like that. I'm like, you then made them enter into this contract, and now, especially if you're a religious person, this is unbinding till death do we part kind of contract. But this man has nothing. There's nothing there that says we must. We have a house together. It's fine. Yes, it's okay. You go, I go. We'll work it out. But we don't have a marital thing that says I now have to fight for everything I have. No, you can literally get up and walk away.
Yeah. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, he was a counsellor, a guru.
This new guy.
Giving people
I know you're saying that.
advice.
And he was cheating on his wife.
And he was cheating on his wife. They'd been married not long, 5 months or so I think it was. It wasn't long. Yes, that's really legally.
And I need to call out all them men out there that were saying about her being on TV with her bonnet and her face. Listen, because when he came up on, I think he was on socials and he was exposing everything that he's done.
Both of them
and he's
together.
there holding the wife's hand.
Yeah.
And she's there looking like I know what she's feeling. She wanted to just go at him, but she couldn't because she's a good Christian woman. And men were going going for her.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what she looks like, then it can't. I'm not surprised that he's gonna step. No.
Out of order.
No.
And this is the thing again within lots of those religious circles. The man's gone out and done the dirty,
and the woman's getting the backlash
for it as well. Guys, we work very hard to look after you, to be the best that we can be. Like it should be a two like someone said up there, it is a two-way street. It was Ken that said there, isn't it? It's a two-way street. But two-way street that is a respectful road to travel on. That's all that I can kind of say in that situation.
You don't want to be driving down the road in only fools and horses three-wheeler.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It's a two-way street.
Okay.
We're riding down the road in something that's going to mash up. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So we need to know beforehand, we really do. Shouting out to Shaz Dunks. How you doing, Shaz? And everyone that's tuned in tonight. Wow, didn't that time went really, really quick tonight? It is 5 to 7. So it's 5 to 8. So following me tonight will be DJ Laro from 8 till 10. And check out the schedules, beautiful people, as well as Charlie Muir and Darnell the therapist on a Wednesday. Now we have a great variety of DJs on the show, and we are also looking for new DJs who can come and join us. George Flavors, shout out George Flavors, doing an awesome job. Allflavasradio.com, great bunch of people. Really, we're here to uplift, upbuild and encourage and empower. That's what it's all about on this station. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing All Flavas Radio. And I do hope you've enjoyed the show with us tonight. It was a little bit heavy. What do you think?
Heavy and hectic.
Heavy and hectic. But, some things have got to be said, really, isn't it? So be beautiful to your partners, look after them, be respectful, and solidify, solidify together. And work in line, love each other, and don't cheat. And if you do, if you're affianced to anyone out there, let them know so that they can make the choice.
No, don't let me know. Just leave.
Okay. Oh no, you can't just leave.
You can't. This is. We haven't even started out on our journey, and you're already.
But he has to let her know, or she has to let him know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and then you can make the choice.
Yes, you may want to stay.
Alright, so beautiful people, we will see you. We are here every Tuesday. Check out the schedules, like I said, allflavasradio.com. And all we have left to say really is, we'll see y'all
on the other side.
Take care.